Hi, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good. It's not the morning, and my brain is fried. Hello, hello, hello. What is up, everybody? How you all doing? I hope you all are doing amazing. Hi, Lily Pad. First off, thank you, Coda. Kodo, how you doing? Thank you so much for being first. Keeper, thank you for being second. Lily Pad, thank you for being third. Still loving the art. And Aura, not a dog. All right. Hello, Hannah. Come over. Hello, Moreau. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi, Keeper. Hi, Ray. How you doing, Ray? Hi, Ray again. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Pinky. Why am I your favorite Gene Boo Boo? Can I just be a normal person? Today I became Speed. You are Speed. You're super fast. I have like 4 giant bruises on my legs from a single fall. That sounds awful. Ocean, thank you for the lurk. Always good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Ninx, I see you there again. Lilypad. I think that's everybody. Oh, hi, Mitchie. And hello, little Dragon Pip. How you doing? So, chat. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so, first off, we're going into night mode because it's night. Night mode. Night mode, night mode, night mode. Oh, I am in night mode. I didn't know I was in night mode already. Okay, so. Wait. Yes, okay. So. You're bored at work? Quit your job. Leave the country. Go be somebody else somewhere else. Okay, so. How many times can I say okay so before somebody gets annoyed? Oh my god, see, I can see the emotes now. This is so cool. Okay. So Vanya forever wanted me to use the 7 TV emotes, and y'all can use them now, but I got a overlay, and the overlay wouldn't let me use 7 TV, and the problem was that the overlay was happening from the bottom of the screen going up, and it was at the very bottom of the left side of the screen, so I couldn't see it. Well, today I realized I can activate the border, I can move the window around, and then I can hide the border, so we're good. And so now I can actually see all the animated emotes, and they're going across my face. Problem, it is still making it hard to see sometimes, so I might move you all to like the right side of my screen, actually, so that way you don't cover up the middle of my screen, because what was happening is when y'all get super excited and you talk a lot, which, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love, suddenly I couldn't see anything anymore, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it was like people were wondering like Gene, why are you suddenly like really bad at this game? It's like because I can't see. Everybody's talking and getting excited. But now you're on just the right side of my screen, so I can still see the middle of my screen, which is significantly better. Does that mean that in an FPS game I won't be able to see anything on the right side? Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and I don't blame you. I love seeing you all excited. Like, it's the best. It's the absolute best. And I love when I couldn't see the game, because that way I was just like, I gotta read all this stuff. Do I have consent to kill my class friend? You don't have the consent to kill anybody, because I'm a Twitch streamer, and giving you that consent will get me in trouble. Also, look, do you guys like the shrimp? Moreau made it. Moreau, I will give you credit. I just need to remember how to do that. I think it's done in the emote settings. I might have just missed the button. But yes, Moreau made the shrimpies. Check out the shrimpies. And, oh, so the other issue was, because I was trying to use this 7 TV thing, I had it like, this one goes from the bottom up, meaning I had to like look at the bottom left corner of my screen to read what was most recent. But now I moved you guys up, so you're like in the middle right side of my screen, and I can see everything. Isn't that cool? Yes. Anyways. Hi, pretty lean. Okay. Other thing, you might notice underneath the stream, which it's not going to be working on this screen yet, because I don't have it on this screen. Maybe I should move it onto the screen. 1 second, chat. We're going to do this. We're copying this. 1 sec. Come on. Okay, I'm being stupid. Control C. Control V. Am I dumb? Am I just stupid? Wait. Since when can I copy this browser source? What's going on? There it is. Okay. Anyways, why are there so many shrimps? I turned to the right and there's shrimps. Okay. All right. Have fun, Moxie. So, you're so pretty. Thank you. Oh. God damn it. All right. Sorry. I'll go focus on this. I'll do it. I got this. Anyways, so chat. You might notice underneath the stream now is a new panel. And this panel is called Tangi or some shiz. Now with the ability to use bits, you can do sound redeems and potentially TTS. I really didn't look into it that much. Hello, Makira. How you doing? Welcome, 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 welcome. I do think it's funny that we get more subs when I'm doing the Southern voice, which means I should probably, or not subs, more follows when I do the Southern voice. So apparently I should just do Southern voice all day. I'm just going to do Southern voice for now. Hi, Cookie. The Who Said That meme has been cracking me up all day. Who said, what do you mean? What meme? Thank you. It's normally not Southern. Normally it's like this. But, you know. Anyway, we go. Back to the Southern. Anyway, what you're saying is buy more bits? Yeah, exactly. You're going to have to buy more bits if you want to try to use those. Because Southern voices... Should I just be a Southern VTuber? Is that what I need to hear? I mean, I can just talk like this normally, or I can do this. Whichever one you prefer. I mean, I have an entire list of voices I can do. You've heard the demo reel, right, chat? You've heard the demo reel. I'm gonna be honest though, I can do this voice for probably like an hour, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. I once had people redeem it nonstop for an entire stream, and trying to do this for that long, eventually killed me. So maybe it's not a permanent thing. Though when I was starting, I thought about being a Southern teddy bear VTuber. But then I was just like, nah. Technically, it's that is very alcoholic. What did I mix? Whew. Ain't what I was expecting. Even from the South? My father's from the South, technically. You can be my teddy bear. Ooh. Why did I have a bottle cap in my shirt? Interesting. Anyways, so today we're going to be chatting for a little bit. I have some plans. I want to talk to y'all about cool plans and ideas. You all already know about me becoming a villain, right? Y'all know that I want to be a villain. I'm going to be meeting with somebody to discuss this on Saturday. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes very well. Oh, hey, Kodo. Kodo, I don't know you too well, but I already know that you're a wonderful, wonderful person. I've seen the way you are here in the stream, and just so very, very kind and sweet and adorable. And, you know, I appreciate you. You deserve only the best in this world. And as long as you keep trying, keep putting the effort in, keep growing, you'll get exactly what you deserve. I promise. Thank you so much for the redeem, Kodo. I hope you know you're one of my favorites. Anyways, how does this thing work? I don't know. Is it not working? All right, we'll go deactivate it then. If it's not working right now. I did tests on it early and it didn't work. It did work. So if it ain't working now, I apologize. I will get rid of it. Give me a second here. We're uninstalling it. We're uninstalling it. The fuck was that? The fuck was that? Who's this? What was that? Did you throw a peach at me? Ah. Here, and it's a vibe here. I hope it's a vibe. I hope it's a vibe. All right, so apparently able to do that. Thank you so much. My friend was like, remember when all like Kevin Gates, and I was like, who said that? I'm cracking the fuck up. Don't laugh at me. All right, chat. Yes, so we're going to become a villain. I'm going to become a villain, a CTO villain. I'm going to try to take over the world. But wait, why am I still doing Southern? I think we're good now, right? Oh, now I still have 1 minute. All right, so don't laugh at me. So, God damn it. I'm trying so hard to be serious here for 3 seconds. All right. So, chat, the plan is to become a villain. That way I'm not just a gambler, a rider, and a flirt, but I'm also a villain. And we're going to try and take over the world, and it's going to be great. But we're going to fail all the time. Because, you know, boy failure. Use 50 bits. To do what? What'd you do?
Southern crab rave, y'all.
What the the fucking hell is that? Why is that a thing? Okay. It just slowly comes onto the screen, flipping around. But yes, okay, we're being a villain. We're becoming a villain. I don't know. The music's broken. So that's all you get. It's just the picture, and it goes Southern Crab Rifle. Okay, so becoming a villain. We're gonna get a 3D model so I can be more engaging and active. I mean, like, look, I can do all this shit, but it's not that great. You know, I want to be able to move a lot more. And lastly, I found a thing though that allowed me still to be expressive, so I can get all of the facial expressions from a 3D model. Potentially. Anyways, look forward to that. I'm gonna be talking about that on Saturday. Thank you for the follow, Bubble Tea. And yeah, that's a heads up on where we're going with stream. Everybody good with that? Everybody cool with me becoming a villain, committing crimes? We good? Don't lip bite at me. I'm glad I can actually see the emotes now, though. All right, back to normal voice. Oh, what are you doing? No villain. I'm becoming a villain. Jeez. Why? Why are you throwing things at me? But it's going to be fun. It's going to be the same model. No worries, chat. I'm still going to look the same. I'm still going to have the same vibes. It's just going to be, we can have interactive streams, and they're going to be stories, and there's going to be all kind of cool stuff we can do with it. Instead of just now where I don't do anything with that, you know? And imagine this, but wearing a mask. Chat, I know you like masks. Okay, so tonight we're going to play some horror games. That apparently y'all can fuck with me in and have sound effects now. So enjoy that until it drives me insane and I get rid of it. We're going to be playing Silent Still 2 because I've seen clips of it and I'm like, ooh, I like that. Lizard. Homie, I'm talking here. Why over my face? Why would you... Lizard. he just gets close to me. He just gets really close to me and goes. But these are not going to be active in all streams. Just a heads up. I will be disabling them for like ASMR streams because it's not going to work out really well if you're just going lizard. No, we're not doing that. The only time we're doing that is I will be doing some comedy ASMR stuff, like beating you over the head with a pipe, or doing the working at McDonald's. We should still make that like a stream goal. Anyways, horror games. Silent Still. Apparently it's a game if I make too much noises. I think things are going to happen. Oh, what the fuck?
Did I jump scare you?
Yes!
Yeah, I bet I did.
What the fuck? All right, we're turning that down just a little bit. I'm gonna put a limiter on it. I'm gonna put a limiter on it, chat, so that it won't go above a certain volume. Everything else with it's fine. I just need oh boy. I don't wanna break anybody's ears if they're wearing headphones. Okay. So we're gonna put that at a. There we go. Okay. Oh boy. We're gonna set that at a -17. There. You know what's funny? He was briefly on the screen there. I could have clicked it. Okay, well, thank you for the... Hi, Moon Shadow. Okay. Hi, Vanya. How you doing? Okay. So, yes, it will not damage again. I never thought about that. I do apologize for anybody whose ears that hurt. I really do apologize. It will not happen again. I swear. I promise. And you know what? Just as an apology for all my lovely Vanya, I expect you to be here and you weren't here before. Oh my God, it's the sad cat. Oh, Vanya, I got 7TV working for you, so I can actually see all your 7TV emotes now. Okay, we're gonna be doing something real quick, just as a little bit of a, you know, because I love you all so very, 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 very much, and I feel a little guilty that I didn't think about that first. Let's do this real quick. Oh, hi, me. Gift a sub, and thank you. Here. I hope this makes up for it. Enjoy the subs, lovely people. Oh, hey, Fruity Koi Boy. I screamed like Michael Jackson. If only we could have clipped chat during that. Y'all, chat, I need to show you this. I need to show you this real quick. Because it's so funny. I paused my stream so I could gift you all subs. Here we go. We're just gonna. One sec. Where is it? Okay. Here it is. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think I'm like super stylish in this? that's the you know. Look how low quality it is too. I mean, just look how absolutely low quality that is. Where it's just like oh, beautiful. We're gonna screenshot that real quick. Oh, amazing. Okay. Thank you for the look. Oh, enjoy your D&D. Okay. You need to come clean. Yes, Fania. What do you need to come clean about? You watch me at 160. Is that what I always... Are you telling me I always look like this? I always look like this to you? That is not okay, Vanya. You can't... You're my mod. You always see me like this? But I look so awful. That's fair. Honestly, I can't even judge. I would do the same. I'm glad that you have lower quality options. I know sometimes that doesn't show up for everybody, you know? Yeah. Okay, bro, if you got crap internet, I get it, but still cutie. Oh, I'm glad I'm a cutie at 160p. Okay, chat. So, what are we doing today? Horror games. We're playing some horror games. Okay. We're gonna play, this one's for Keeper chat. We're playing Silent Still 2. By the way, have you all ever played Silent Still 1? Because, oh my god, it was an awful game. It was so badly made. This one looks like it's a lot better, but the first one was, no, Silent Still, not Silent Hill, Silent Still. So Silent Still 1 was a one where you go into an apartment and you go lay down and you have sleep paralysis. And so first, the game was badly programmed. Sorry, effects just came in. Anyways, yeah, we're playing Silent Still for Keeper of Fate. So Silent Still 1, if you hit the spacebar, it would make you crouch. But it'd make you crouch for a second. But it didn't actually make you crouch. What it made you do was crouch lower and lower and lower until you were in the ground. You were just jumping down. And so I would keep sinking into the earth by rapidly hitting the space bar. And then you could just be beneath the map. And you could see where they hid. Oh, hi. Why are you throwing... How does it know where I am? Anyways, it would... It was bad. It was a bad game. But apparently this game's better. A lot cooler. So we're going to try it out. It follows me. It stalks me. I knew it. All right, we're going to play. I'm going to regret this. No, this game's going to be great. Thank you for the lurk. Mwah. I'm so excited, chat. What the oh, hey, off of me. Get off of me. What are you fucking doing? No. What the fuck was that? Yeah, you. Get. Gross. God, now I'm all moist. Oh, I chose all of them. Chat. I didn't look at it. You think I looked at it? You think I looked at the settings? It was like, hey, we need you to pick the settings.
Now, the main problem area is up here. All of this going on up here is what's causing me the most physical discomfort.
Yeah. You know, I've never been criticized by Markiplier before. I knew it would happen eventually, but hey, you know. Okay. Brain fart. What are we doing? Oh, game capture. Y'all, I'm not going to play this game. We're not going to ever make it into it because I keep getting distracted by what y'all doing to me. And I'm like, what's happening over there? I want to know what's happening.
Julian.
Okay, let's see if we can get this working. All right. Yeah, hello, chat. What's up, chat? Chat, you got it? Yeah, you want anything? Chat, no? Chat, everything? Okay, well, chat left. Chat wouldn't answer. Oh, Jesus, chat. It's not capturing. Wait. Is it doing the thing? Give me a second. I might be stupid, chat. Okay. Ah, there it goes. Okay. Redeem for Ari, sorry.
Lizard.
Lizard, shut the fuck up.
Lizard.
God damn it. Hi, Ari. Ari, sweetie, you are so very, very wonderful. You're fantastic, you're sweet, you're kind, you're amazing, and you're a fantastic lawyer. You know, I really, really, really do appreciate you so much. And you are just so very lovely, my lovely little bunny princess lawyer. I'm so glad you're a member of the stream. And you look really cute today. Thank you so much for the redeem. Okay. Chat. We need to make sure... Actually, everything's working. Everything's working. We can just play the game. Oh, I need to turn the music off.
You'll just keep making
what do you want?
Sound.
What do you want?
Really? Till Daddy's head explodes?
Well, okay then. We're gonna play this. Let's do this, chat. You ready? You ready? Warning, this game, that's not a G. It contains deeply unsettling imagery, that's not a G, and psychological horror. Proceed only if you're prepared. Oh. Wow. Okay, here we go. Chat, are you ready? You ready to be scared? Are you ready to be scared by something different? Okay. Hi, Lumu. How you doing? Why are the... No, okay, no. Can we... I need to... These stairs, chat. I don't know if my legs are broken, but... Come on. Come on, boy. You can do it. Climb those stairs. You can do it. Why are you confused? I'm the confused one here. Oh, eat interact. Hello? Oh, hey. I can talk in game. Isn't that cool, chat? Hi. You're talking to the girl that reads horror and murder for fun? Who is girl? Is it me? Am I girl? Kidding. Okay. Wait, we're gonna try this again. Testing. Wait, testing. Hello? Amazing. Okay, we're ready. I think. Okay. Oh, stop talking. How do I open this door? Guess you ran. I don't even play. This game control is so weird. Oh, hi Silas, how you doing? Me, I am said girl. Oh, you're a girl. Wait. That's how doors work. I don't know what we're doing. Hello? Hello? Okay, well, you know. Hello, 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 hello. What the Hey! 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 No! Bad chat. Okay, this is so... Twitch's ass. That's fair. For the door. Okay, so I want to explain the controls to everybody here. I have to move the light is like its own thing. And so if I move it here and here, okay, perfect. If I want to move all the way around, I have to keep going that direction. It's such an awkward way of controlling this. There we go, okay.
I'm sorry, but my sensors indicate that you are indeed a weenie.
Rude. I am not a weenie. Hi. How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Oh, cool, a creepy-ass library, because it's exactly what I was hoping to find. Why am I here? Bye, Silas. Hello? Oh, God. Why is the mic fucking up? I blame this game. Okay, 1 second, chat. We're going to see if I can fix that. Give me a second. Sound settings, do. I think it's this. We'll try this real quick. Testing? Testing. Hello? Hello? There we go. Perfect. Okay, chat, we're back. But JJ doesn't like... Really? Why does JJ not like when you watch the streamers that she likes? That's so goofy. Okay. Oh, this is the weirdest controlled game I've ever played. Yeah? Yeah, is that so, Keeper? You know what we should have done? We should have done this on a just chatting stream. So y'all could have used all of this for as long as you wanted to. And that way, y'all, we can... Oh, well, did you... Hello? Is anyone there? Interesting. Okay. Chat, I think there's somebody here. Damn, this place is way creepier in person. Of course it is. Well, call her a hater. Call JJ a hater, and then fight them. My dog is Bosco. He turned 5 on...
Do you not feel bonita?
I do feel bonita.
Wonderful, because you look bonita.
Aw, thank you. Okay. Hello? Anyone here? Oof. I wonder if this is supposed to be played with a controller. Let me take a look. Nope. What's up, Vanya?
Who's there?
Oh, boy, my leg's cut.
Break it up! Get out of the way, make room!
I think I'm sitting on a nail.
My turn!
Hey!
I don't hate you, Vanya. Why would I hate you? Okay, maybe this one. Such a rich laugh. I know, and I'm broke. Can you imagine having a rich laugh and also being broke? Ah, so this is the entrance. Why the hell did I come in through the back? It's a good point. Why did I come in through the back? Hello? There you go. Can't relate. I've got $4. Ooh, that's fair. That's fair. Huh. Okay, we're gonna see if I can open this door. I don't think the controls are working. 1 second. Okay, good. They only wanted to give me the controls right at the beginning of the game. That's the flashlight. Open the door. Open the door. Okay, I'm gonna hide in the corner of my book where babies get kidnapped and replaced with demon children by a cult. If you or someone else compliments said baby, well, tell the baby I love the baby, okay? I think the baby's very pretty. Oh, well, that's fun. Nice. I'm proud of you. Yeah, okay, thank you. I'm glad it's not just me thinking the controls are bad. Hello? Hello? Testing. Hi, anyone here? Seems like the perfect spot to sit for a bit. Oh, we're like ghost hunting. Okay. How do I sit? Sit. 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 God damn it. Oh. Hello, is anyone here? Hello? Hello? I have an ass. You don't know. I totally have an ass. Is there anyone here? Hello? Hello? Guten Abend, Fräulein. Come va? Oh. Was war das? Oh, what's that noise? Oh, no, chat. The fuck was that? Oh, hi, Lala. Hi, Lala. How you doing? Hello? Hello? Is anyone here? Hey, hello. Who's there? Come on. I can hear you. I can't actually hear them. It's true. Doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Chad, do you like my echo? Out of my share, it's too hot right now. Interesting. What is that? Hello? Hello? Apparently we're leaving. Oh, brother. Chat. We can be bees. Chat. Chat, we can be bees. Chat. Good news. We can be bees. Hi, Leon. How you doing? I guess we're leaving now. Yes, you can be a bee. You can be kept as a pet. Mwah. Hello? Hello? Huh. Y'all heard that, right? Or did somebody redeem something? Chat, we can be bees. Hi, Toxic. It's going. Oh, damn it. All right, here we go. And here we go. Hello, anybody here? Anybody here? Let me out. Gene's going crazy. I'm not going crazy. There's clearly somebody here. There was definitely a noise. There was definitely a noise. You gotta be without twin trust. I don't know, I'm hearing things. I don't believe you, Lillibad. Why do y'all gaslight me? Southern Uwu? Oh, god damn it. All right. Uwu, thank you so much for that redeem. Shit, was this way out? Yeah, it's right. It's fine. Oh, right, this door doesn't open, does it? Great. I think for the hydrant, Snowfang. Greatly appreciate it. Oh. Me and your girlfriend playing dress up and your... Hello? Hello? Hey, who's here? Me and your girlfriend playing dress up in my house. I gave your girlfriend cunnilingus on my couch. She's cute, kawaii, and tie boobies. I tend to say jaw garlic. I can easily say jaw garlic. Who would ever have an issue with that word? That's a simple one. Jaw garlic. Easy. Easy. I would never have. Fucking why?
Did I jump scare you?
A little
Yeah,
bit.
I bet I did.
Mean. Wait, do I keep hearing clicking? Oh no, that's me crushing things. But this time it was quieter, right, chat? Was it quieter? Mm-hmm. Mwah. Kiss for chat, of course. Hi. Good evening, Leona. How you doing? Me and your girlfriend playing girlfriend at my girlfriend. I gave your girlfriend a girlfriend. She's cute, a girlfriend. Alright, I think I'm lost, chat. I think I'm lost. No, Leona, not Leon. But hi, Leon. How you doing, too? Don't leave me, please, I'll die. You're not allowed to die. That's a crime. Oh. Okay. Oh, it was just when we used the all right, the flashlight was just weird. I have to offer to marry the ghost? All right, we'll do that next time. I'll make sure when I go back. I'm so thirsty. And, oh, wait, I think there's some soda in the fridge. Also, how long do I have on this voice left, chat? All right, open the fridge. And grab some milk. I was trying to grab the milk. All right, let me take a bath real quick before I go to bed. Where the Dr. Pepper? Ain't no Dr. Pepper in this house. You get what you deserve. How dare you? Wait, open the door. Open the door. Wait, what? Open the door. Open, there we go. Look at this bath. Ain't this a nice bath? Why was there water already in the bath? All right, there we go. I'm a lady? I'm a lady. That's weird. I've explored so many abandoned places and never felt scared or in danger. But earlier, there was this heavy feeling like deep fear that just made me leave and go home. I'm a lady, chat. How do I have what set up? Is this... I bathe all the time. Oh, I don't take baths, but I take showers. Can I be done? Oh. Good morning, Maka. How you doing? Well, I mean, she's in her own house, but yeah, what's up with the dogs? They're so annoying. Don't clip me not taking bath. No, Moxie will do it. I take baths, chat. I bathe. I'm a bath boy. I love baths. I don't have a clip command yet. Now, 1 second, chat. We're going to do this. Because this is bothering me. Nope. Okay, anyways. I'm a bath boy. I bathe. I wash. Yes. I even brush my teeth. I have a facial routine. Hey, no falling asleep in the bath. Girls is how people drown. I don't use candles and bath bombs. No, Chad, I don't have candles. Fight me, Lala.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I don't stink. Stop laying in the bath, girl. What the? I felt like I was being choked. Oh, that seriously scared the hell out of me. Get out of bath. This is Silent Still. This is Silent Still, not Silent Hill. Silent Still.
Gene is a little stinky boy? Who's a good little stinky boy? Yes, it's you. Good stinky boy. Chat, can we get 5 big booms for Stinky Gene? Boom, 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 boom.
Hey, Vanya, how much was that? Does that have the normal price for everything else? Or was that as cheap as anything? Actually, don't tell me. No one needs to know. We can explain from over here. It is silent still. It is quiet. Why were the booms so zesty? Stop sniffing me. I'm clean. I'm clean. Fine, chat. Fine. I will put bath bombs on the throne if you want to buy me bath bomb. By the way, can we get a shout out for Lisa Latte? Thank you. And Pinky, thank you for the resub. Mwah. Apparently the alerts are hidden. But thank you for the resub. I appreciate it. Oh, we can get up now. Okay, I'd like to explain to y'all what happened though the first time I played like a Silent Still game. So we were playing it, right? I was playing with somebody else. And anyways, where's the browser sign go? Okay, sorry. I was playing the game, and there's a part where it's just like you're sitting there like frozen with you're having night terrors, right? And you can't move, and you're just looking around. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen? And I look left. I'm like, what's gonna happen? I look right, and I look left, and I look right, and I look left, and then I look right, and I look down. I look up, like I look here, right? We're laying in bed. I look up like this. I look down. I look left. I look right. Yeah, sleep paralysis, and like nothing is happening. And we're there for 10 minutes. We're doing there for 10 minutes, waiting for something to happen. And you know what the problem was, chat? Because I looked like this, and I didn't look like this. It wouldn't activate the jump scare. For 10 minutes, I played the game waiting for something to happen. It might have been 15 minutes. It was a long time. I'm just like, yeah, like, because I could see all of the roof by looking here. Why would I look straight up? And there was nothing. There was no noise. Actually, no, there was scuttering noises. There's little scuttering noises, but they weren't directional. So you didn't know it was above you. So yeah. What the fuck are you reading, Bosco? Okay. Do I get in bed now? Can I get in bed? No, I don't sleep now. Now I gotta take off my makeup. Chad, I'm a vampire. Fuck. What do I do? What do I do, Chad? Door, maybe? Oh. What am I interacting with? I guess. Oh, the wardrobe. Okay. 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 Turn off the ceiling room light. My God. Huh? Bye, Neeks. Are you leaving, Neeks? I'll miss you. Mwah.
Did you ever think that maybe there's more to life than being really, really, really ridiculously good looking?
No. No, chat. Why would there ever be anything more to life than being good looking? Do I... Okay, do I need to turn off the other lights? No. This light, maybe? No. Do I lock the front door? That's unlocked. Chat, we're not allowed to lock the front door. Okay. I'm trying... No, it said we need to turn off the ceiling light. Thank you for the follow, Savvy Addy. How you doing? What's cooking good looking? Me right now. I'm sweltering. Turn off the... Why is the light switch there? Okay. Fair enough. No food. Is it... Do we go to bed? All right, time to sleep. Are you sure? Are you sure? Well, hi, thank you so much for the follow. Mwah. How you doing, Savvy? Who sleeps like this?
What's up, buddy? Real quick advice. One time me and my football team were on our way back from a game, and this van we took didn't have a bathroom, so we all took turns pissing in a jug. When we got back, we poured the piss into our buddy's windshield wiper fluid. He sprayed piss all over his window, and it smelled for weeks.
That wasn't advice. What do you mean advice? Well, a piece of advice, buddy. What do you mean piece of advice? The first experience. I believe that this game could be good. Oh no, chat. Oh God, is it sleep paralysis again? Oh my God, it's sleep paralysis again, chat. Sleep paralysis, do 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 do. I'm a sleep paralysis man, and I'm looking around to see if they are there. Ba 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 da ba. I put hand sanitizer on my cat. I thought you said put hand sanitizer on my cat. Really? Who's that? Hello, Real Salem. Zeus. Did you all jump, really? Okay. All right. Hi, Salem. How you doing? Okay. I'm going to look everywhere this time to make sure there's nothing I'm missing. But yeah, so this is what happened in the first game. The first game, oh, the lights are changing. The first game, like, stuff would happen over time. And so, like, I just thought I was waiting. I thought I was just waiting for something to happen. And then, no, it turns out that he was up there the whole time. Okay, so we're good. Here we go. Oh, lights back on. All right, ready? Ready? 5, 4. Damn it, too slow. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ha! Damn it. Okay. Ha! Lights off. Turn off. Go away. Hello. Lights off. Lights off. Lights. Come on. Lights off. Oh, no, anyways. Nothing there. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. No. No. Hey. What the fuck was that? Did you just fart on me? The fart scared me. Oh, God. Okay. So fucking mean. We're gonna do a thing here. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2. Nah. That's because Vanya's in my pants shitting them. Underneath the stream. Something next to me. There's someone on the kitchen window. Oh. Is there? I don't believe you. It's too dark. Who's on the kitchen window? Who's on the kitchen window? Open the kitchen window. Come on in. Come in. Oh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, hi. What's up? Come in. My bed is nice and warm, and it can have 2 whole people in it. Actually, this bed is really fucking tiny. Bring your own bed. Do you want to bring a bed? Give me a bigger one. Hey, fuck. Oh, hi, there they are. What's up, homie? Oh, she kind of pretty. Girl, you got legs for days. Honestly, for a sleep paralysis demon, could be worse. Oh, hey. Turn the light back on. I was looking at you. Girl, I was looking at you. Let me look at you some more. Oh. 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 Hello? Hello? Stop knocking in different areas. Yeah, I'm gonna scream. I hope you're ready for this. Oh, hi, thank you for the bits. Mwah. Insert fart demon jumps. Oh God, no, chat. You know what the problem is? The knocking did it. The knocking, I feel it in my stomach right now. I feel this little bit of anxiety in my chest. Oh, if something jumps out right now at me, I'm gonna fucking I'm gonna die. I will actively die. Oh. The knocking was not a bit redeem. The knocking was not a bit redeem. Chat, it's to my left. Oh. What the fuck was he? Yeah. He's yeah. Oh. Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, he's to my right. I don't want to look, chat. I don't want to look. I don't want to look. I don't want to.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
All right, we'll look at him. He's not there. Chat, I see him to my left. He's to my left, chat. He's to my left. He's to my left, chat. He's to my left. Chat, 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 he's right there. He's right there. He's fucking. Oh, the light went out. No, he's gone. Is he getting in bed with me, or was that a redeem? But he's about to cuddle me. Okay, wait. We need to look up. We need to look up, chat. We have to look up. You ready? You ready? You ready? Oh, light's back on. Oh, titties. I wasn't under the blanket? Who sleeps on top of the fucking... Who sleeps like this? Mikio, you're such a bad princess. Such a bad princess. Hi, titties. I mean, look at them thigh. No, too much thigh gap. Need less thigh gap. I'm kidding, actually. All bodies are very hot. Titties, though. Oh! I mean, hi. Riz up the furniture. Why do I keep seeing stuff over there? Hey, yo, what's up, girl? No, like, come back over here. Crawl over here. Roll over. Give me a kiss. You're my girlfriend now. Mwah. Do. Ads. Chat, we're gonna pause. We're pausing. Oh, vampire. Oh, there you go. We'll wait. We'll pause. Hey, we'll do a little be right back, okay? And when the ads are over, I'll be right back, okay? Oh, hi, everybody. I'll be in 2 minutes. Vonnie, they like me better anyway. These are La Vista San Chochitos. No, they're just tasty. Okay, chat, we're back. No invite, sad. You ready, chat? First off, Vampire. Vampire. You're such a good baby bat. Such a good baby bat. Mwah. All right, here we go. Look at that booty. Girl, look at that body. I work out when I walk to the club, girl. This is what I see. Everyone stop and staring at me. I got a passion in my pants and I ain't afraid to show. Oh, God, she's gone. I'm sexy and I know it. Wait, why am I turning down the feet? Who's racist? I'm not racist. What do you mean? I got a passion in my pants and I ain't afraid to show it. Show it, show it, show it. I'm sexy and I know it. They're not Cheetos. Mmm. Hi, Desi. Desi, are you doing your thing tonight? Everybody, can we do a shout out for Desi? Desi doing karaoke tonight. Everybody go check out Desi doing karaoke. Get a shout out for Desi. Go follow them. They're going to do karaoke. They're going to be good. It's going to be super cool. Go check it out. Check it out. Check it out. That scared you? She just runs so aggressively. It was so goofy. Vanya's the fucking best. I don't want to set the world on fire. I don't have Cheetos. I just... Yeah? And even the bits! Mwah. I don't want to set the world on fire. I just want to start flame in your heart. Give me one or you're racist. Okay, fine. I'll get you Cheetos. I'll get you Cheetos. I lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. I don't have hot Cheetos in my shirt. Thank you for the bits. Mwah, I appreciate it. You can't add more. We'll renegotiate, okay? Oh, fucking hell. I wasn't expecting it. It was so goofy. I lost all ambition for worldly acclaim. I just want to be the one you love. He got. Blood rushed in my head. Anyways, what are we doing? What am I doing? I peed myself. Just kidding, chat. I'm not wearing pants. Oh, I actually did need to pee. Get Mr. Dog Pants. Oh, bros, he they. Oh, chat. Loading pee meter. You can't see the pee meter because it's covered by chat, but we're pissing. Hi, Siren. How you doing, gorgeous? Okay, good. We pissed. Chat, we're... No. You can tell this game was made by a man. Well, Penguin, good luck. I believe in you. Also, chat, my pronouns are he, they. What pronouns do you use? What do you mean she didn't eat before bed? Oh, fuck. Sorry to hear that, pretty. I wish you the best of luck. Why are there just eggs? She moondrop, she they, she the her, she they, she her, she didn't, he didn't wipe, he didn't wipe, I didn't wipe. I'm sorry, chat. I didn't have an option. She they. Good choices, good choice. Why is there so much toast? We are your new boyfriend. There's just eggs in a pan. Also, what is this insane kettle? And one slice of pizza. I found it. I found it, chat. Junior cute. Thank you, Siren. I found it. Why'd I have a pair of ears? Because I'm just a human. I'm just a guy. I'm just a man. All right, chat. This is what it is. This is what it is right here. This is the secret spot. I found out how to get on the counter. Nope. This game was made by a man. There's so much toast. No, I don't. I have one pair of ears. The human ones. Okay, so first off, bread. All this is cinnamon swirl bread. Eggs. Pizza. Bread loaf. Out in the open with a knife that hasn't been used for some reason. Spoon. Like, this is just weirdly disorganized. I don't have ears on top of my head. I just have, like, 2 human ears, see? Look. It's cereal box. What? More toast. What? Was the toast going bad? And another slice of pizza. Oh, I need to sit at the table to eat the slice of pizza. Yeah, see, look at my normal human ears.
Some good food.
It's not good fucking food. It's just anime hair. Why? Okay. There's weird. There's something off, but I can't tell what it is. Is it all the fucking bread? Oh, chat, we have... I don't like the stupid mechanics in this game. You gonna put toast in my mouth? Please. Chat. It's behind me, isn't it? Am I asleep? Oh, fuck you, Desi. I can't look under the table. Well. Why your walls look like that? Oh, yeah, chat, we're going to do a lot of horror games in October. I hope you're ready for that. Got blood rush to my head. It stop. Oh, listen to it. How is that true, Pomo? I've never had night terrors. I can't look under the table. Oh, that's a coffee cup. How am I supposed to look under the table? There is no option to look under the table, okay? Look under the table. Look under the table. I can't look under the table. Come on. Here it comes, chat. You ready? Close your eyes. And then we go above, and there's going to be. Ready? Ready? You ready? You ready, chat? You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm being harassed by a fruit fly, chat.
See you, chump.
Come on. All right, chat, we're going to talk about sex now. How many of you have... Sorry. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? We just go... Sorry, I was just thinking about it because I was looking at a I was looking at a Twitter post, and somebody who I thought was like very, very flirty and sexual was like, "Yeah, I'm in like my early 30s, and I've never had sex." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay." And then there's all these other people being like, "Yeah, I'm also this age, and I haven't had sex." I'm just like, "Do y'all need help?" That was the first thing that came to my mind. Sorry. Anyway. It's like, I volunteer. Come on. You're right, Moreau. You're 100% right. You 100% right. Huh? Okay. Hello, Anika. How you doing? Scare meter? What do you mean scare meter? How you doing, Anika? How's it? Oh, we're just gonna keep our eyes closed. Why am I singing aloud? Oh, I don't know. I was just waiting for the next thing to happen. But how you doing, Anika? I hope I'm saying your name right. Well, I have real human gremlins, so I guess I speak. It does, Casey. It does. All right. I'm just going to look at this toast for a little while. Chat, this is kind of nice toast. Look at this toast spiral. This guy's got lines. Dark, sensual lines of cinnamon going all the way through it. By the way, this is one of 8 pieces of toast this man has prepared for himself this day. There's 2 in the toaster, 2 on a plate, 2 on another plate on the right side, and then the 2 on the plate out here. That is 8 pieces of toast. This man toasted all of the toast in his entire house so that he can have 2 on the plate out here that he left out here all day, by the way. Ah! That explains all the toast, chat. That explains all the toast. It was just a dream. I was angry about, look, it was so much toast. He's wasting so much toast, okay? And there's just so many slices of pizza. And they're all individual slices of pizza.
Hey there, big dog. I really need to know, just for my peace of mind.
Okay.
Do you eat a Snickers bar dick vein up or dick vein down? I'm trying to get the whole picture of you down to the T.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Honestly, probably down. I like the texture. It depends. Like, are we going like front in or side in? If we go side in, then the vein up. But if it's going from the front in, then don't worry about it. Anyways. God, if y'all ever saw me eat, you'd be like, Gene, why do you eat like that? Why do you eat like that? Why are you so goofy? Hello? Am I... You know, I have a really deep voice for this lady. I'm a deep voice man. Ooh. Sorry, got distracted. Hello? 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 Anyone home? What are you erming about? Oh, yeah. Do we need to use the microphone? Hello? Oh, how do I eat? Okay, no, so chat. Hello? Oh, how do I eat? Okay, no, so chat. Ah! What's up, homie? Dog bowl. Dog bowl. You all right out there? Why are you imitating me? Do you want to kiss? You want to kiss? I bet you want to kiss me, don't you? You wanna kiss me so bad. You wanna kiss me so bad, I know it. Give me a kiss, ghost boy. Give me a kiss, ghost boy. Do I cook? I love to cook. Yeah, I do. I'm probably gonna start cooking a lot more soon. You said it back. I'm going to make out with you. Full tongue. You want to kiss me so bad it makes you look stupid. Full tongue. Full tongue. Not half tongue. Hey, chat's the way. Oh, the game's too quiet? Let me turn the game up. There's that better? Why'd no one tell me the game was too quiet? So wait, are you all telling me that when I was talking, yo, why did nobody tell me? Are you all telling me? So y'all you couldn't hear this echo? Yeah, no, because I'm talking in game. Yes, chat. It's part of the game that I talk in game so that the game can hear me. Hello? Oh. Hey, stay back. Stop following me. Don't do it. Why is she kind of what? Chat? Yeah, there was an echo before. Anytime I talk in the game like this, hello, he's an echo. Crazy. Oh shit. This is a dead end chat. This is a dead end.
Hibachi, Benihana, Teriyaki, Nagasaki, Okinawa, Hokkaido, Yokohama, Karate, Judo, Sumo, Samurai, Nissan, Honda, Mitsubishi, Subaru, Harikiri, Tsunami, Kamikaze, Banzai, Yamaha, Nikon, Casio, Aiwa, Minolta, Hitachi, Seiko, Toshiba, Buddha, Shiitake, Kimono, Tempura, Sushi, Sashimi.
It's been 3 days without sleep. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Stop touching your cut. Can I sleep now? God, you know, this entire time I've been like hearing y'all didn't hear this noises. Y'all didn't hear the noises of this. Wow. Don't sleep. Oh no, chat. We need to not sleep. Oh no. Anyways, 1 second. Is there any way like I can make the audio not appear in game? Honk me. Chat, I have an idea. Okay, here's the idea, chat. It's gonna be so stupid, but we're gonna make this work, okay? that didn't work. Okay. I want to see if I can figure out a way to do a push to mute for this. If I can do a push to mute for this, then we can talk in game and it won't echo, and that way it won't be annoying, you know? So here we go. Hotkeys. Ah. We're going to try it in just a second, chat. You ready? Okay. Okay, chat, you can hear me now, right? And now we can do this. It didn't work, did it? Can you still hear me? You can still hear me, can't you? Not working. Okay. But you can hear me now. And if I do this, you can still hear me. So what if I do... Okay, no, you know what I'm going to do, chat? I'm going to mute my mic in stream, in game, in stream, when I have to talk in game, okay? So I can do this. But now you can't hear me. Perfect. Okay. Oh, shit. I'm not supposed to be sleeping. Don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep, don't sleep. Fucking... Ah, shit. What's up? What's up, Palma? What's up, Palma? Palma, what's up? What do you want, Palma? Oh, the mic part's done? Okay. And now we're back to waiting. Okay. Looking right, looking left, looking up, looking down, left, right, up. Hi, Nova. How you doing? Left, right. Hello, Lan. How you doing? You're fine. You're fine. We still got at least 30 minutes. We might go a little bit long. Left. Because today's Friday. Okay. How you doing, Lan? Did you have a good day? Gene, I could cook you dinner. I would love that, Siren. I would absolutely love that. Come over. Make me something. I have nothing in my fridge. Ah, Sunday, I need to go get grocery shopping. Can girl wear some socks? I don't want to see her feet. She got the titties. You just woke up. Ah, it's fair. Well, I hope your day is good. She's in the wardrobe. She's the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch. Oh no, it's trying to sneak around. It's hiding somewhere else. I know, right? Click, click. Click, click. Come on. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Give me a... Yeah, I know, right? They had to cover up the feet. They're hiding the feet now. We could have had free feet, too. It's a ploy, chat. Here he comes. I'm gonna go to sleep. Close your eyes, Lynx. Close your eyes and I'm with you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember I'll always be true. You're okay. No worries, Nova. And while I was away, I'll ride home every day, send all my loving to you. All my loving, it belongs to you. Thank you for the hydrate. Oh, thank you for the stretch, too. All my loving, darling, I'll be true. Don't fall asleep. Don't worry, I'll scream soon. Ooh. Thank you for the subs. Oh, thank you so much for the subs. I just took a screenshot with my body. Thank you, though. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I really appreciate it. God, so y'all haven't been hearing all these noises the entire time. You've just been like, Gene is a little wimp. Gene's a little wimp hearing noises. Crazy. Calling me. Okay, now we got to come out here. We got to go in here. Tell your friend I say hi. No, she still has all the toast. What the? Hey, bat. Crazy. I was crazy once. I have the munchies and zoomies. Well, go get some snacks. I can't eat the toast. Actually, did we get? The toast is back, chat. We didn't eat the toast. I'm a little upset that there's so much toast. I know we're about to get jump scared again because of all the toast. Wait, what am I doing? Huh? Yeah, pretty much. And scary junk. This is supposed to be a sleep paralysis game. Okay. Maybe we're making coffee? No. Oh, fuck. We're drinking another soda. Ghost Did I just drop the can on the floor? How long do I have to keep experiencing these nightmares? Are we gonna pee? No. Well, am I dead? Don't worry, it's not over yet. The demon doesn't talk. Get ready, chat. Here it comes. Wait, that's the end? That's the end? It was better than the first one, okay? The first one was really bad, chat. So they're getting better. They're getting better. And I that concept where you talk in the game and they hear you, kind of clever, kind of unique. I can appreciate it. You know, so it is what it is. Anyways, I should go now. All right, be good, Nova, okay? Behave yourself. So, you know, I'll give it to him. It could have been worse. Like I said before, actually, chat, I want to show you this. We're going to play the first silent still for a few seconds so I can show you the weird mechanic in this game that was insane. That wasn't intentional. It's just because of the way the programming was really bad. So here, we'll pull up the first one real quick. No, I'm big. Wait, where's the game? Oh, there it is. Okay, so this is the first game. Okay. Now watch this. Now watch this. Wearing a headset is recommended to fully immersive experience. Also, the game was $3, chat. The game was $3. Like it wasn't. It's not even expensive. All right. I'll give him. Thank you for the hydrate. I'll give him that. Okay. So here we are in the house. Same sort of like game loop. By the way, you have to like set up the sensitivity really, really high to do anything. But here we go. Chat, where am I going? Chat, where am I going? Chat, what's happening? And so that we can have some light. We get to the point where there's light. A LuckyJene stream. Bet. Okay, here we go. You ready? You ready? You ready? And there we go. Yep. Yep. Yeah, you know. Happy Friday, y'all. Yeah, and like the walls move, and every once in a while you can see like where they have background pieces. But yeah. Oh, don't worry, I can still interact with things down here though, chat. So you could hypothetically, I need to pee badly. Okay, let me find the toilet real quick, chat. We're gonna find the toilet. There's the door. I don't remember if I can. Yep, nope. I had to zoom up to get the door. All right, here we go. I probably need to access the light. There's a light switch. All right, time to pee. Okay. I can't pee. I can't pee down here.
I can't talk right now. I'm making piss.
I'm trying to make piss. Anyways. And this was that game. Hey, for the resub! I appreciate it. This was the game where, like, I laid in bed for 10 minutes because I was waiting to see the jump scare. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Moxie. Really sorry to hear that. Okay, we need a new game, chat. We need a new game. What are we going to play? I could try to install Resident Evil 7 before stream ends. We could play Remnant 2. Thanks so much for the redeem. I could try to... Should we try to install Resident Evil 7 before the stream ends? All right, let's see how long it's going to take. We're not playing Persona 4. We're not playing Persona 4. I refuse. Oh my god, wait a second, chat. I need to... Okay. Chat, I'm uninstalling... I'll play... Okay, but I'm not playing it today. I will play it for you, Vanya. I'm uninstalling Rainbow Six Siege real quick. Give me a second. I'm never going to play Siege again. That's fine. Rip Siege. I'm uninstalling Siege. I don't have the space to install stuff right now. Okay. Uninstall. You ready, chat? Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that brought the rich. There's no way uninstalled that quickly. Wait, you were gonna... Oh, I forgot. I will reinstall... It didn't free up any hard drive space! It didn't uninstall it! Ah! It's still there. It didn't uninstall the game. It didn't uninstall. It's still there. It's just like, yeah, it's uninstalled now. Wink, wink. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Totally uninstalled the game. I swear to God, man. I swear to God. I did. I went through Ubisoft to uninstall it. And my file, nothing changed. Nothing changed. All right, maybe if we empty recycling bin or something. I need a little bit more space. I have too many games installed, chat. Okay, I don't plan on playing Resident Evil 2, so we're going to uninstall Resident Evil 2. There we go. And then we'll install Resident Evil 7. There we go. Okay. Well, so I have a hard drive meant for storage. What? What, Vanya? Oh, there's no way this is going to install in time. There's no way this is going to install in time, chat. Oh, it's so slow, chat. Nope. Okay, we'll have to play it another time. Oh, no. Okay, so, Vanya, I have a hard drive with 500... Like, I have a hard drive with 8 terabytes. My SSD, which every single game wants to use, they're like, you didn't install this game on your SSD. We actually need you to install it on your SSD or else we're not going to do it, okay? Yeah, so that one is the one that's, like, full up. It's the small one. It's so bad that I tried to install a game onto my... We're just going to talk for a little while. I tried to install a game onto my hard drive, and then I launched the game, and it said, no. It said no. It said, you're installing it in the wrong place. You don't deserve to play this game. So, yeah. What do you mean, Gene, no? Don't tell me no. Did I die? Am I still here? Why'd you say no? Why'd you say no like that? What did I do? I'm scared now. Did I die? Oh God! Don't pokes Gene. Y'all made me think I wasn't here. I was scared. I thought something had happened. Bad Gene, bad Gene, bad Gene. You're dying, Gene. I don't mean to die. I don't want to die, chat. I'm trying not to die. Why am I installing? You know why? You know why I have no? Vamo, he's such a good kitty. Such a good kitty. And come here, Siren. Mwah. Okay, you know why? Would you like to know why I have no space? Because people keep going like, hey, Gene, I would like to play this game with you. I'm like, perfect. I will install it. And then we never play it. I have Hunt Showdown installed, chat. Do you know how many times I played Hunt Showdown? Twice. I've played Hunt Showdown twice before the people who played it quit playing it. GTFO. I played GTFO once. So we're going to uninstall that game too. There's another 70 gigabytes. Didn't I get the Force 2? Time to wipe and clean. Pointy fingers. Don't point your finger. Have you told Steam and Ubisoft to reorganize your hard drive? I don't know. Maybe. The Evil Within. Oh, we're going to be playing The Evil Within soon. We'll keep that. Dishwashing Simulator. I don't play anymore. We've already beat Dishwashing Simulator, so there's no reason to play it again. Devour. I'm probably not going to play that, so we're going to uninstall that. I would actually play Siege. Okay, I'll reinstall that. Why am I in trouble? What did I do? How about Deadlight? Chat, do you want to try out Deadlight? I don't know what Deadlight is. Do you want to play Deadlight? Have you done Downfall? What's Downfall? Oh, God, I wanted to play Danganronpa. Danganronpa looks cool. Deadlight is what they called you. You didn't brush your teeth? I totally brushed my teeth. Well, Dar, I'm out of money now. Doom, doom, doom. All right, Pretty Lean. Thank you for coming by. Mwah. Appreciate you. I want to play Beyond Two Souls. And I'll play... Arctic Eggs was fun. I'm never uninstalling that. I'm not going to play Alien Isolation. We played it for a little while. It's just... It was slow. All right. All right. What the fuck is going on over here? Homie. Okay. There we go. Chat, I can't find the game. Chat, I can't find the game. Is that a bad sign? Is that a bad sign that the game might not exist on Twitch? Found it. Okay. All right. It's fine, chat. It's fine. I'm sure this game is great. I believe in it. I believe in us, chat. I'm sure this game is amazing. I installed it for some reason, so you know, it should be okay. Hopefully. Here we go, chat. It's so loud. Why is it not the full screen? Okay, maybe I'm just petty. Is this better, chat? We'll lower it down a little bit. I guess. What do you mean continue? I've never played this game before. How have I played 1 hour and 39 minutes and have 0% completion? No, this is Deadlight. Okay. Okay, why is this so loud? Oh my god.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna start over. That was cute. I appreciate that. Now there's no volume. I said I'm not playing Persona 4. I have no money for Persona 4. Why is there no volume at all now? Okay. Okay. I don't hate you. I'm broke. What do you mean? Fine. Fine, I'll go buy Persona 4 and I'll install it and then we'll end stream before we can play it. Okay? Okay, is that what you want to hear? Fine, let me go find it. We're finding it right now, chat. And it's gonna lag the stream while I install it. That's what's happening. So, alright, I'm downloading Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Here we go. I got this. I got it. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Thank you for the pities. Thank you for the pities. Okay. 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 I will... You know what? You know what we have? Hi, Sweeper. You know what we have? You know what I have? I have right now? I have games installed on the Xbox app. The Xbox app has games installed. I know they have to be better. There's some cute Neon White looks fun. Doom, we can play Doom. We can play Road 96. So chat, Neon White or Road 96? What are we doing? Tell your roommate I also say hi and give him a kiss for me. Neon White? Bet. Okay, we're playing Neon White. Tell me, Nikio. What's up? Do you love how prepared I am for the stream, by the way, chat?
Finding it hard to believe we're in heaven.
Hey, chat. The select category has broken. Eat your Kit Kat's whole. What are you doing? Don't. I can't put in the game anymore. It legitimately will not stop showing me the old ones. Oh, there it is. Sorry. So here's what it shows me, Jack. It shows me Deadly Survivor, Deadly Topics, Deadly Delivery, Dead Harvest. By the way, none of these games look like they exist. Deadly Flare, Deadly Rain, Deadly Steps, Deadly Intersection, Deadly Danger Dungeon, Blind Deadly Love, Quicksilver Deadly, Reddit and the Deadly Sins, Layla Deadlines Clearance, Deadly Hunter VR, The Deadly Dungeons of Baron Backlash, Deadly Voltage, Rise of the Invincible, Deadland Chronicles, Deadlocked, Neon White. Sorry, Neon White showed up at the very you know, with all the other ones that begin with the D. So you know, we're great at this, chat. All right, there we go. Go white boy, go white boy, go. Go white boy, go white boy, go. It's me, I'm white boy. Oh, we should play Deadly Premonition. Oh my god, we should do Deadly Premonition. Ah!
I should have known it was going to end this way. God's sixth sense of humor or something.
Okay, I'm calm down. I'm calm. Hey, chat. So I just want to tell you something. I opened my bag that has my drinks in it, right? I have all my drinks in a bag, and I have a few, like, hard ciders and hard lemonades. Well, I reached in there, and I pulled out something that was hard, and I was like, I don't remember this. It's big. And you know what it is? Chat? Moonshine. Moonshine peaches. Peach moonshine. So, in honor of our founding fathers, I think I should take a shot of moonshine. What do you think? Cheers. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Moonshine is a hard liquor that is distilled.
Like me, you don't get second chances. But if I did,
that is so good.
I swear I'd do it right.
Oh, that's fair. Chat, one day I'll be in a game like this. This is the goal. People like me don't get second chances.
In the middle of something. Can't remember a thing though. Where the heck am I? Do I know these people?
Wait, Moreau. Oh, sorry, I moved my redeems. My bad. Also, Lan, thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't notice how many bits you gave me. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Mwah. Moreau, darling, you are so sweet. You are incredible. And I really, really, really do appreciate you. You are lovely. And you've been an amazing addition to this community. You make this a better place than it would have been without you. You are talented, you're skilled, and you deserve just all the love in the world. Keep doing as you're doing, and you'll do great, I promise.
Neons, rejoice, for you've arrived in glorious heaven.
Yay, heaven!
What?
Also, yes, Palma, I did read your thing. We'll do it. At 1,500 follows.
And you dead mortals are what we refer to as neons, sinners the God has judged most unfavorably.
Yes. Yes, you can. 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 Yes, you can, Bomo.
Am I meant to be in hell?
But fret not, for we have granted you an opportunity for salvation. In our
Yipper!
competition, the 10 days of judgment.
Yay! I spell. Mwah.
Neons will use your villainous talents to annihilate the demons invading our holy land.
Is this for real?
Oh my god, Chad, he's hot.
Guess what? You died and God thinks you suck. Go kill some crap?
Actually, hi, Lacey. Why does everybody want me to play Persona?
Soul card containing a weapon befitting your past.
Badass.
A soul card with the melee slash attack. It cannot be discarded. The attached note reads, according to our records, White's ideal weapon is totally sick samurai sword.
The most competent demon slayer will receive the ultimate reward, God's forgiveness, and your very own place in heaven.
I'm sorry, what was that? I'm sorry, Neek. And I'm sorry. Ban them. No one is... I'm kidding. You're fine.
But first, some housekeeping.
Fine, I will play Persona 4 once we hit 1,500 subs. Follows. Not subs. He just got hotter, chat.
You will now be known as Neon White.
He just got hotter, chat.
Do not forget, you are here in heaven as guests.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Masks
Oh,
contain
yeah.
explosive that we won't hesitate to detonate if you step out of line.
Both.
Please refrain from removing them, unless, of course, you'd prefer to go out in flames.
Yeesh. I guess lowly sinners shouldn't expect red carpet treatment.
But heaven
seems like a racket.
But heaven kind of seems like a racket.
Yet, forgiveness is strangely calling to me.
Wow.
Every inch of my body is calling out for it. It's almost painful.
Gene makes my horns longer. Who says that?
Exactly did I used to be?
Now then, go forth, catch your boat at the glass port.
Torgin.
Kill every demon you find. We'll be...
All right, demons.
Oh, I want some ice cream.
No sweat. Memories might be hazy, but I don't need a tutorial on how to kick ass.
Here's a tutorial on how to kick ass.
You are gonna do a tutorial, right?
Really? Tell her to call me. Me and her will get into some call and we'll talk. I can smell the chili. I'm going and say, no, it's going to be like that for a while. Oh my. I'm so floaty. Oh, I'm so floaty. Wait, what'd I do? Oh, if you hit F, it restarts chat. Good to know. Oh, I like this. This is floaty. This is fun. Oh, this is kind of goofy. She's busy until me in December. Bet. That's weird.
I'll take it.
Okay. Wait, was that it? This is neon white. Also, is the game too loud for anybody? I just want to make sure it's not too loud for anybody. Gun! Is it fine or is it good? Oh no, chat. Oh, it's doing the thing. Give me a second. All right, chat. I'm not gonna be able to see your stuff as easily.
What's next?
No. Oh, it's not good. Okay. Okay, we're gonna see if I can fix this. Give me a second. Chat, I can't play this game. Because this game does that thing where it doesn't lock the mouse down to the screen. So if I'm playing right now, I'm clicking outside of the screen right now. It's not taking like control of the mouse properly. Well, we tried. I tried. I guess we're just existing until the end of stream then. That's so lame. Oh shit, chat. I forgot something. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about this. I can't believe I forgot about this, chat. It's already 2 hours? Well, so it's not OBS. The problem is that the game is not keeping my mouse. So as long as I'm clicking, if I'm trying to like swing around, which you do a lot in that game, eventually I'll click off screen and then I stop playing it. But we have something better to play, chat. We have something better to play. I forgot about this. Technically, you all bought me this. Not all of you, Desi specifically. But yeah. All right. Gene, I'm gonna let you do it. Here we go. We got the DLC, chat. We got the DLC, chat. If the ads are over, you got the DLC, chat.